The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of Atlanta 24 Community Media, staff, management, and its affiliates. Welcome to Sean Garvey and My Special Guest, the show in which we have one-on-one conversations with the best and brightest influential people in the industry, from community leaders to entertainers and so much more. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Sean Garvey and My Special Guest.
All right, folks, I told you all. And yeah, we're live, ladies and gentlemen. We're live, and to let you know how live we are, my phone dropped on the ground, on the floor. Sean Garvey and My Special Guest. This is part 2 of a previous episode that we aired, and I have the one, the only Scotty B next to me,
yes, sir.
Formerly of 95.5 WSB and the former producer of Word on the Street, now known as the Shelley Winter Show. And now joining with us right here on Sean Garvey and My Special Guest. Look, I've known this woman, we go back like kids and...
Yes, years.
Yes.
Over what, 20?
I think it's been over 20 years.
Yeah, way over 20.
Yeah, like back seats, like babies with pacifiers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we met at something having to do with music. The industry.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I
how we
remember
met.
that. Yeah. The one and only Dee Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, Dee Hill. Y'all give it up for Dee.
Oh, yes.
Dee
That's
Hill. Now, Dee Hill, you got history, just like me and Scotty B, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're watching us on ATL Community Media Channel 24, this used to be what was called, or what was known as People TV.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of important figures have came into the door.
Yes.
From Hosea Williams, the late and great Allie Pat. The list goes on and on and on.
Lil John.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So many people that supported community media. And you are one of those people that have supported community media for a very, very great amount of time.
Yes.
What does community media mean to Dee Hill?
Community media means getting important people together. You know, everybody has a story to tell. So getting those people to tell their stories that the average household needs to hear about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it means to me.
Yeah. What about you, Scotty B? When you hear community media, what does that mean to you?
Everybody, getting everybody involved, everybody finding their role and playing their role, because, you know, we all have our own parts to this thing. Nobody does the same thing. And community media is everybody bringing their piece to the table, making it work.
Yeah. And so big shout outs to the staff behind ATL Community Media and just everything you all do in the community and for the city of Atlanta, and helping to usher in shows like this. Because we're definitely about the community, we're definitely about putting out progressive information and just having these type of conversations that you may not hear anywhere else.
Absolutely.
The Dee Hill plays a very vital role. Well, let me just remind people me and Dee Hill's history.
Okay.
I was her producer. I mean, we go way back before.
Way back.
Way back before the Dee Hill radio show. And I was on this radio station, this is before WAOK. I was on this radio station, Love 860 AM, WAEC, which the call letters at the time back in the day were WERD 680 AM, the first black-owned radio station in Georgia, I believe. Not just in Atlanta, but in Georgia.
Okay.
And Dee Hill came to the radio station in 2011, pitched the show, the Dee Hill radio show, and I just so happened to be her producer. I looked up and I'm like, I'm producing the Dee Hill radio show.
Let's go.
What a full circle moment.
Mhm.
Did you talk to us? Tell us a little bit about that journey for you too.
You know, when I first started, I think I did. It was the Dee Hill morning show. And I think my show was like 30 minutes long. That 30 minutes seemed like 3 hours. And I did that 30 minutes for like years. Until the manager at that time, Greg Cooper, and was like, Dee.
Oh, you gotta mention his name.
Yes, Greg Cooper. Thank you, Greg Cooper. He was like, Dee, people are not doing 30 minutes anymore. If it was not for him and for Sean Garvey, I still would have been doing those 30 minutes. So I moved up to an hour. And glad that I moved to an hour because I met a lot of more interesting people in the community. And I really did not think that my radio show would do what it did. I didn't expect for me to meet the people that I met. You know, it opened a lot of doors for me. I was able to get a bill passed in the state of Georgia honoring men and women in radio, April the 21st through the 25th. I was able to get that done. And I was able to, you know, meet a lot of people at the state capitol that I thought that I would never meet. Even like the governor, and you know, that just meant so much to me. And also, thank you, Sean, because the Dee Hill show would not be what it is because you produced my show for years. So, you know, big props to you. Just even DJ Rollum, shout out to DJ Rollum.
DJ Rollum from my partner in crime from the Beat Break Morning Show.
Yeah, he was my my co-host. Been with me for years, and you know, I appreciate people like him and everybody, Rick, that produced my show. And just, you know, I just want to appreciate everybody that stuck by me. You know, even with the my organization, Men and Women in Radio, I never thought that it would get as big as it is. It was just a dream for me. You know, I just had a vision. And even with women in radio, which I got assist and deceased, but we'll talk about that later.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. The business side.
Yeah, the business side. You know, I'm from the country. I ain't know nothing about getting no company registered and all that stuff. I'm just using it. But like Sean said, that, you know, I had been using that name for years. I've been using that name for years. But, you know, everything has been beautiful and everything has definitely been a blessing.
Mm-hmm. Who are some of the names, on-air personalities in Atlanta and Georgia that you helped honor?
Oh, Lord. Renee Miller, Carol Blackman. Everybody from Tony Brown. Tony Brown was the program director of V103 for years. Goodness, so many names that I've honored. Christina from the Burt Show, Jean Hobby, Miss Shanika.
It's a good list.
Oh yeah, the list goes on and on and on. And Michelle Williams, like we first got started. Actually, how it first got started, I went to Michelle Williams and asked her, have women ever been honored before at the state capitol? She was like, no. And for those of you all who don't know Michelle Williams was the first female personality of 104.1. So, and then, you know, me and her got to talking, and she explained to me that women had to be off the radio at 6 o'clock. And I'm like, why? She said, because we were women. So that gave me that extra push to even go harder to just to hear that. So pretty much everybody, my mind just went blank from every radio station here in Georgia that I've honored, and we are continuing to do so. Definitely continue to do so. And what has came out of that, the city of Atlanta even reached out to me and like, hey, we want to honor them too, not just at the state capitol, but the city of Atlanta. So, you know, I'm thankful for that. A big shout out to radio lady, Marsha Washington George. Thank you. I've always been a big supporter of men and women in radio. So, you know, we've made a way, and we're going to continue to make a way in the state of Georgia.
And I want to give you your flowers too again and say congratulations because you recently been inducted into the Black
Yes.
Radio Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Well, tell us, what was that like for you?
I got a call, and of course, you know, we have this event each year with the National Black Radio Hall of Fame, which Marshall Washington has been the president for years. And last year, we had the event here in Atlanta, Georgia. For those of you who don't know what the National Black Radio Hall of Fame is, it's who's who in black radio attend this event. So I continue to do, I also have a nonprofit organization called Men and Women in Radio Foundation. So they seen my work in the community, you know, what I do for is like giving back because I love to give back. And so I got that call. I had voted for everybody that's in the industry that I wanted to vote for because we having the event in St. Louis. And so I got a call and was like, you been, no, that you received the votes to be honored. I'm like, honored for what? I didn't even know I was in the category. So when they told me that, you know, that I had won, I just screamed. I just screamed because I didn't even know I was in, you know, the category to receive this. And this is such an honor. This is such an honor. So I'm very proud of that and my nonprofit organization.
You in there with the icons, with the greats, the Ryan Camerons, the Frank Stees, yeah, so many. It's a big list, got to be.
That's an excellent list to be in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's who from all over the country attend this event. And for a little country girl like me to be up there with them, no words. No words at all.
What do you think about radio? And this is a question I can ask both of you all. What do you all think about radio now in Atlanta? I want to focus on just Atlanta for the time being. We are all in the city of Atlanta, of course, and it's become more and more competitive now than ever before.
Yes.
Sometimes I just feel like radio in Atlanta is just not the same like it used to be. You know, because we grew up listening to a lot of big name people on the radio. I mean, we can go far back, not too far back, but when Ludacris
Chris Lover
and Boom Daddy
on
when it was Hot 97.5 before it became Hot 107.9.
Yeah.
These were the people that we looked up to, that we listened to the radio, and they just had that unique voice. And now they have transcended and doing bigger and great things. You know, even like I said before about community media. So many people have worked in community media, community radio, community TV, and now they are in movies. They are making big music, popular music, winning Grammys and everything. I mean, now it's like listening to Atlanta radio, it's like I don't have that hunger anymore to listen to this station or that station or that station on Atlanta radio. But what are your thoughts? I'll start with you,
Okay.
Dee Hill.
Shouts out to Hurricane Dave. He made a big impression for radio here in Atlanta. And I just can't, it's so funny that you brought that up because I think about this all the time. Before growing up, when people even put on something simple as a concert, I mean, you would hear about it every 5 minutes. You know, the radio station was hyping it up. And it's like, so it's funny to me because radio stations that was competing against each other back in the day, it's like now they're all owned by the same company. So it's like now there's no hunger because even like when I go outside of Atlanta to some of the smaller radio stations, I'm hearing different music. I'm hearing a lot of different music. But it's like here in Atlanta, every station is playing the same exact thing. And I even like had a question for one of the radio stations, a news station, which I'm not going to name. here in Atlanta, and it's called the blues and the southern soul, but I'm hearing a lot of old school music. I can turn the other radio stations to hear old school music. I don't want to hear that on this particular radio station. I want to hear blues and southern soul, but they're not playing a lot of blues and southern soul. You might hear one or two blues and southern soul songs, but then it's like old school. I don't want to hear old school on your station also. It's like 50 other different radio stations that I could hear the old school music. So I just think that that's a hard one. And then, you know, of course, me being a black woman, a lot of the people that I honor at the state capitol are also black. And it's because we don't get the recognition that we deserve. And they don't get the recognition that they deserve because of their color. But it's like, okay, do the other race of people get fired out the air like the black men and women in radio? So I think about stuff like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's deep, but I think about stuff like that a lot.
That can be very taboo.
Yeah.
Very taboo. What about you? What about you, Scott?
I think it's a twofold answer with radio and the state of it. One of the things is the community. I think when we were growing up, as you talked to that foregone time period, we bought in.
Yeah.
You had a favorite jock. You were listening to your show at a certain time, from 5 to 8, from 8 to 10, from midnight on. You knew what you were listening to. There's not that buy-in anymore. We don't have those shows anymore. You don't even know who's all on your favorite radio shows anymore. It changes. So, and like, to her credit, all the radio sounds the same. Everybody's playing the same, most popular music. And there was a time when there was a station for every genre. If you wanted to listen to rock, you listened here. If you wanted to listen to alt, you listened here. If you wanted R&B, you listened here. But now everybody's playing the same top 100. And there's no personality. There's no connection with the radio anymore. So that's one reason. The second reason is the way we consume media with the streaming, your telephone, your devices. You got to look for radio now versus when we were growing up, it was just radio and TV. You listen to the radio in the car. Ultimately, some people had a radio in their house, and it was television. That was it. Now you got streaming. You can watch on your phone. You can pull up a tablet. You can put on glasses. So it's pushing radio further back in the line because radio hasn't kept up with the technology. It's still the same radio, and it takes purists like us to kind of keep it going.
Yeah, you know what's so interesting? Because I listen and I watch a lot of these new content creators on places like YouTube, wherever you get your streaming from, and I look at the numbers. I'm a very analytical type of person, so I don't just watch the content. I also look at the numbers, who's watching the content, the views and everything. And sometimes I just be thinking in my mind, how do these content creators get more visibility, more numbers than some, if not most of these radio personalities that's been on the air, whether it's 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, or even 40 years. Like, how do they do that? And to Scotty B's point, the streaming, the digital has changed the game, unless there's a controversial moment that happens in terrestrial radio that will get people to talk about it for days and days and days. And I guess you two kind of know where I'm shifting in this conversation with this when I bring up, and I hate to bring it up, of course, because Atlanta's own Wanda Smith passed away.
Yes.
And before her untimely passing, there was the situation that happened, of course, a few years back between her and Cat Williams. You know, of course, Cat Williams came to the radio station, B103, and he wasn't supposed to be interviewed. It was Red Grant that was the interviewee. And this was at the time when it was Frank Ski and Wanda Smith in the morning. And of course, everybody knows what happened. And Cat Williams came on, and then it just went from there, right? To where the Breakfast Club talked about it. Shannon Sharp talked about
all across the country.
All across the country. And it just put, I think it put, to me in my opinion, it put a damper in Atlanta radio, because I don't remember Atlanta radio being like that at the time.
Agreed.
Yeah, like what? Let's say you.
Okay, so what do you mean Atlanta radio being?
I mean, because all right, so I'm a native of Atlanta, so I grew up listening to a lot of the Atlanta radio personalities that you love.
Yeah.
And you didn't hear sensationalism. I mean, I come from that era where Atlanta radio personalities were giving away houses.
Oh yeah.
Giving away cars,
Uh-huh.
and talked about things that really, really matter. And it just seemed like at times, some Atlanta radio personalities, they just fall into that situation of wanting to do that gotcha moment
Yeah.
for it to go viral, so that way they can compete with the online content creators that do the exact same thing on a daily basis. So that's what I mean by that.
Okay. I guess it all depends on the individual. For an example, you know, Wanda came from V103, and I wouldn't compare her to maybe like a Carol Blackman, because I felt that, you know, if that situation would have happened to somebody like Carol Blackman, she would have shut it down just like that. She wouldn't have went on. So I think that it have to do with a lot of the personality. I think it has a lot to do with that person. So I wouldn't put Wanda Smith or her situation in the same category as I would with other female radio personality. And I also want to point this out. You know, women still have it hard, you know. And people hate for me to say this, it's still a man's world. Because how many women that has their own, like, show, for an example, Charlemagne the God, you know, their show is worldwide. How many female shows is worldwide like that? And people used to point out Wendy Williams. I wouldn't put her, because she was, to me, was just so negative. So I wouldn't put her in a category as having a show of her own that's positive, and that's leading. So I wouldn't put Wanda Smith in the same category as I would with other female radio personalities.
But you said something that was very key. You brought up Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club and Wendy Williams. They are all New York-based radio personalities, radio heads, and what have you. But here in Atlanta, we just never had that, because in New York, it's a different beast.
Yeah.
It's a different beast. And, you know, we've heard so many things about the radio beefs between this radio station and that radio station in New York, and we just never had that in Atlanta. You know, but when, and I go back to the infamous Cat Williams thing that happened, and then the follow-up, the build-up from that, the aftermath, when we all saw that video of Frank Ski and Wanda Smith talking about it and how that made her feel uncomfortable, I was like, is this the beginning?
Yeah.
Could this be the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And you know, to this very day, some people ask me, Sean, would you ever go back to doing commercial radio? I don't know. I don't think I would go back to doing commercial radio. If I'm going back to do commercial radio, I'm going to be going back to do it for the money and not so much for the love. Because I love doing radio. I started out volunteering at a community radio station in Atlanta 23, 24 years ago.
Wow.
And I didn't care about whether I was going to get paid or not. I just loved doing it.
Yeah.
You know, but when I saw what was happening to me at that radio station and how crazy it was, I was just like, nah, you know, I don't think so. Right. And it's kind of like, you know, I know you didn't share so much about what happened between you and WSB 95.5 and Shelley Winter and everything. I mean, you shared as much as you could in part 1 of this episode. But I just think we're at a time right now, Scotty and Dee Hill, that we all have opportunities. in front of us. Like even here being in this studio to create our own table, to use the resources that we have to create and change the narrative on so many things. Because like you said, you know, even in radio, there's a lot of sensationalism, negativity, this, that, and the other. And even to your point, you know, about women being misrepresented at times in broadcasting.
Yes. It's also very, 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 very important that what I would like to see, honestly, with especially in the black community, what I really would like to see is radio station being more in politics, not too deep in it. For an example, my job, I work around 50 people. Okay, the only time them 50 people know when to go vote is when I mention, don't forget to vote. That's the only time they know locally when to go out and vote. And I feel that, you know, radio stations needs to get more involved in putting stuff like that out there instead of all the negative stuff, you know, that people are doing. So I would definitely like to see that in radio more.
I'm glad you said that. You know what else I would like to see? I would like to see producers and board operators get the same kind of recognition as the on-air personality.
Yes.
Excellent.
I would like to, do you feel, and this question is for you, Scotty, was there ever a point in time in your radio career or even working at your previous radio station where you felt you was either underpaid, underappreciated, or overlooked?
Oh, absolutely. Because there's so much work that goes into it. The legwork, the social media, the planning, excuse me, the printing, the prepping, the making sure that everybody's on the same page, sending out articles, the keeping in communication with not only yourself, but maybe if you have a guest. There's so many layers just to have a decent 30-minute show. Like you said, it takes a lot to fill up 30 minutes. And when you're doing that night to night, people lose it. It doesn't mean anything to them because they're not doing it. They're not planning for it. They're not prepping for it. They're not trying to get this hour nap here because I know I'll be up for the next 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know, you have to plan for that. That's not something that you just walk into and do willy-nilly. Because like I told you, it was almost 7 days a week for me between television and radio. I might have a day off. And on that day off, I'm just catching up.
Yeah.
So it's all about time management, man. That thing is very, very important. And yeah, you get overlooked. Because, you know, the people who ultimately get paid the big money, they get on the microphone, they get to shine. And that's how it's designed. So part of you knows that going in. So it sets up a realistic expectation. But you also don't want to get cast aside or put in the shadows. I think I agree with you guys. There would be some way to kind of balance that out. It would be very helpful to everybody. And it would keep people doing the same show for longer.
Yeah. Yeah. I know this episode is going to go viral, you know, because it was just so much that we have said thus far on the table. But I wanted us to have this conversation as people in radio, and to your point of being overlooked and being underpaid. Because for me, you know, I still have people ask me, well, what happened between you and 1380 WAOK? And let me just say this for the record, because this is the first time I'm ever speaking about it on this major platform. I love WAOK 1380 and everything that it represents. When they say they're in the community, they are in the community. Folks, you all saw me at this remote. You all saw me at Hosea Feed the Hungry. You may have seen me here at Centennial Park or at the Sweet Auburn Festival, here, and here. But, and I'm going to just say this, ladies and gentlemen, I too, at times, felt I was underpaid and underappreciated at times. And I do get that we're in an industry where we're working with big name people that have also put in the work.
Yes, sir.
They've also paid their dues and everything.
Sir.
But when people think of radio, they only think of on-air talent. They don't think about the sales department, because it's really the sales department that brings in the money.
Program directors.
Yeah, the program directors. IT.
General manager,
Yeah,
yes.
the general IT department. They the ones that keep the station running.
Yeah.
You know, and,
Okay.
and again, the producers and the board operators. And so what I faced on and off in my years of working in commercial radio is that I have faced plenty of pay disparity. I mean, there were times where I thought I wasn't gonna be able to go to work because I spent all of my check on bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, over the little bit of money
Yeah.
that these radio stations have given me. And I'm glad, I'm happy, I was happy just by getting paid, you know, at these radio stations. But it was almost like I felt I was working for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was starting to make me feel like I don't have love
Yeah.
for this industry anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, to be honest with you, when you work at stations like talk radio stations, you do be working for free, unless you get a bunch of sponsors.
Yeah.
And I had to put on my Facebook page, and I had to send people direct messages. Because people from my hometown, Sean, because I was on the radio, they thought I had it going on. These folks thought I was making millions.
Yeah.
And I had to tell them, I only get funds when I get sponsors. I ain't got it like that. Yeah, I had to shut a couple of people down.
And you know, this is my first time hearing this, by the way.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I had to shut people down and let them know I ain't, because they was hitting me up left and right. Y'all, I ain't got it.
Wow.
Yeah, baby, I have to, you know, I'm broke just like you.
Right.
I have a 9 to 5 just like you.
Right.
But I mean, you know, I've seen you and me and DJ Roland talked about this offline. Like, we see you putting in the work to do this men and women in radio thing and all the things you're doing in the radio circle and
Yes.
stuff. And for you to even get a reward, you know, the Black Radio Hall of Fame Award.
The National Black Radio Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you put national in there.
Yeah, they put national in there.
Get that right.
Yeah, even when I first started honoring some of the people in radio, I was surprised how many people had part-time jobs. You know, one young lady, I don't want to call her name because I can't remember who it was. She even told me, and she was a big name personality on the radio. She even told me once she get off the radio, she would sleep in her car and get ready to go to her part-time job. So, you know, you hear these people on the radio, you think they got bank, but majority don't. Majority are out there hustling and working just like the average person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that goes back to what I said before, that we have to do our part. Because I consider us as seasoned radio people. We have to do our part to inform people, you know, of a particular generation, late millennials or Gen Zers. This is what it is.
Yep.
This is business at the end of the day.
Yep.
You can have a great voice like Scotty B or great production skills and everything else, but you gotta understand that this is a business, right? And it's
Yes.
only very few people that survive in this business. And I think that's why I see so many people doing their own thing on YouTube and on other platforms and stuff, because it's there.
Yep.
You know, back in the day, we didn't have those resources.
No, absolutely.
We didn't. So, again, like I said, I'm appreciative of WOK, and I also got to mention B103, because I not only worked for WAOK, but I also worked for B103.
Yeah.
So it was both WAOK 1380 and B103.
Okay.
And I'm appreciative of just the relationships that I built at those both stations.
Yeah.
And just so happy that I've learned a lot, as much as I did at that station. But, you know, there comes a time where you just got to go off and do your own thing,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
you know.
And thank you so much, Sean, for bringing up, even like in my award show, not only am I honoring the radio personalities, but I'm honoring the program directors and the manager as well, because those are the people that make sure that the show goes well. And a lot of people don't even know that those people exist. The ones that work behind the scene.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up as well, because those people are just as important as the radio personality that's on air.
Right.
And you have a beautiful radio voice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Very beautiful
Thank
radio
you,
voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, when people hear that, they know it's Scotty B. It ain't
Oh,
it
yeah.
ain't anybody else. It's Scotty
yeah.
B.
For many more years to come with this voice. If you need it, I'm here, man.
Yeah. So, Scotty B, let the people know how they can follow you. And, of course, people got to see your fishing game.
Oh, yeah. My
Man.
fishing game is
Yeah,
sick.
it's
That's,
sick.
now, that's passion right there.
Yeah, can you talk to us a little bit about that, your fishing game?
Honestly, man, when I got away from radio, fishing is very therapeutic for me. That's kind of how I comprise my thoughts. My step away from everything, you know, I have children, I'm a father. So when I go fishing, it's kind of like my way away from everything, my chance to plan and to figure out my next move, how I want to approach something. Did I overreact? That's my me time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of evolved. It kind of got bigger, and you know, I started getting my children involved. And I do a redfish tournament every year in Savannah, Georgia now. So it's just a happy place, man. I went to Ohio 2 weeks ago and went walleye fishing with my father. Now that's a yearly trip. So it's just kind of grown legs. And it just started with me posting my fishing adventures, and it's gotten bigger and bigger. I got a video over 100,000.
Wow.
Just
Jeez.
just fishing. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just, again, taking things that I do and just giving it to the people, man.
Yeah.
Allowing people to make a decision, because it's just a labor of love for me. It's just a passion. But anywhere I can fish and anything I can fish for. They say, what type of fishing do you do? And I'd say, all. So that's the passion, man. I'm actually going, hopefully tomorrow, get up and go and beat this Georgia heat and get out there before it gets to be 100 degrees. But yeah, man, in the middle of all of this fishing, it's just kind of that safe space, man.
Yeah.
That peaceful, relaxing. If you don't do it, please go out and try. Get your fishing rod. Go to Walmart, buy you a $10 rod, buy you some worms. Go out there and have a good time. Get your kids out the house. It's great for everybody, man.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And one last question, and this is for both of you all. Is there a possibility that we could hear and see Scotty B back on the radio? And same for you.
We need to. We need to.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. At this point, like I said, I do other people's shows and podcasts. I'm around. There's nothing consistent, but absolutely, I miss it. I miss it. When something's in you and when you have a gift, you can't run from it. So
Yeah.
you will see Scotty B on radio sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. Dee Hill?
You know what? To be honest with you, I've been in this thing for a long time. I would like to be more behind the scenes. Now that I would like to be more behind the
Listen,
scenes.
you should have called me because we could have had you managing the cameras. Since our other producer didn't show up.
Yeah, but you know, WERD, like you had mentioned before, is the first black radio station in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having their reopen here in Atlanta. So I'll probably think about it.
They having their reopening?
Yes.
Are you? Wait a minute.
Yes,
I'm getting nothing but exclusive.
Yes.
You hear that? I'm getting nothing but exclusive right here. That you saying there is a possibility or is it confirmed?
It's not. It's a possibility. Things are in the works.
Things
Yeah.
are in the works. Wow. The return of WERD.
Yes.
I like it.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. We all three of us. We're gonna have to talk offline.
Yeah.
All right. But you on social media?
Yeah, Scotty Baker everywhere. Scotty B or Scotty Baker, you'll find everything I have.
Okay. And you know where you can find Dee Hill.
Oh yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook, Instagram under Men and Women in Radio on Instagram. Facebook is the Dee Hill or either Dee Hill, and I'm everywhere. Yeah, just put in Dee Hill. I'm there. I pop up.
Yep. Got us some radio legends here.
Okay.
Right. You know, award winning Dee Hill, and soon to be the next Black Radio Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
Hey, Scotty B, Sean Garvey.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Sean Garvey and my special guest. We got more. Stay tuned.